MMA Friday here, Yahoo Sports Radio, Scorcho and Shooter, and joining us on the phone, always a pleasure. We've talked to him many times before in the past. First time on MMA Friday, first UFC Lightweight champion, Jens Pulver, joining us on the show. Jens, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you all for taking the time. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking the time, Paul.
Thanks. Well, appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll do our best to keep you awake.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll try and keep you entertained.
This is going to be hard-hitting and
Oh, no,
fast.
please.
Here we go.
That's not it.
First
I'm
question.
What?
Hard-hitting and fast. This is the first question, Jens. What video game are you really into right now?
Nothing.
Oh,
What?
No.
Impossible.
No, I think Team Fortress 2 is what Thomas was telling me. We got to start playing a little bit with Red Harbinger. So I'll let him tell it. And if I told you the one game I've been battling the most on, when it's not PC. It almost, I can't say I'm disgusted that I play it, but my wife started playing it, and then she's so far ahead of me at it that I can't get myself to say it, but I'm going to say it. It's the Candy Crush.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. I
He's
got
gone.
Candy crushed, man. I got crushed. And then she starts getting way ahead of me, and, it just, that got me a little bit. But, I just haven't, right now, I haven't had the same kind of time, obviously. I got to get things figured out, so I haven't had time to game as much until, Thomas Nunn calls me and says, hey, over here at Red Harbinger, we got the computer desks are rolling. We got some PCs going. Let's game. Okay, let's game.
Wow. All right. I'm going to try and shake that one off and move ahead. Now, for those of you who are listening to the show, you maybe don't know, Jens is the very first ever of all time Ultimate Fighting Championship lightweight champion, having beaten BJ Penn. Myriad of other people, an innovator in the sport, and forever a champion of the little guy, especially when it comes to all-around fighting.
Not to cut you off, that's the one thing that I think a lot of people find out later on is, because it's weird, because someone had just put a picture on Twitter and of me and Alfie Alcarez, and just thinking back, and it said UFC 22, and I was like, oh my Lord, what are they on, UFC 168 now? And it's I remember, the one thing that people, even though they might say first, lightweight champion like that, it's not even that. I started the 155-pound division. I had to fight at 170 and above and keep beating everybody up until they, we got together, and especially, John Petty, the Boss Shoot Invitational, when I started winning there, and then me and Alfie, even though we were supposed to make 155 and be close, it was still a 170-pound match. Then we started fighting at 55 with John Lewis. I did 55, and then it was Dana and the Fertittas. When they bought the UFC, they created the 155-pound division, made it official, and put a belt in there, and went and found the best guy at the time in Cal Uno. Anybody could look it up. Guy was the man. Beat Ruben Asado for the second time for the world title. We were in Japan. I watched it. I'm like, oh, really? Am I serious? Whoa. I thought I was getting way over my head. And then, I still remember the coolest thing about, the UFC, even at the very beginning, was Dana saying, I don't want anybody to look at our champions and go, no, Pride champion's better, or this champion's better. When they see a UFC champion and say he is the best, period. And so they wanted to bring in the best talents to make that happen. So that's kind of how that whole thing portrayed. But yeah, for the longest time, I'd have to fight at 170, 225. I fought in gymnasiums. It was pretty rugged. And then so I always tell people I'm the godfather of the lightweight division, because my whole, people would tell me, you're going to have to go up to 170. I said, no, I'll knock enough people out. We'll make 155. And the reality is I wrestled at 35 and 41. So finally, as they kept dropping it down, I remember saying, one day we'll have a 25-pound class, because my little brother, he'd have to gain weight to fight at that.
Right.
And that's one of the
crazy long story.
and that's one of the crazy things is that, obviously you pioneered the lightweight division, but the reality of it is that you pioneered really 4 divisions in mixed martial arts, and the UFC and mixed martial arts as a whole. That lightweight division was the catalyst for 145, for 135,
Absolutely.
for 125.
Absolutely.
When you look back on that, what sort of feelings go through you when you realize how big of an impact you've had on the sport of mixed martial arts that so many people don't even realize? Like, what do you feel about that?
And that's the thing is, maybe when I'm older, my kids get older, the sport is longer. I'm not, I'm my career is done, which probably should have been 5 years ago. I'm sure people say, but no, it's right now. I don't have. I'm still just trying to go. Did I seriously do? This is what I was doing. Oh man, really? I should have been working at as a wrestling coach and never decided to pioneer. And I'm not saying all the money or it isn't that. It's just sometimes you just sit back and think. Now the sport's gotten so big, and I think at some point when letting go of the fighter and retiring, because that's the thing I'm learning how to do. People can tell you all day long, retire this, think about this, you got to worry about this. Man, I'm just going through motions and fighting, and you don't like to think of the day that comes, and then the day comes. And so now, no, I'm not saying retire. I'm retired. I said I'll never announce it. I'll just be done. But, I can't, I'm not going to lie and say it's not in the forethoughts of my everyday life. And, so when all of that starts to settle, I get a little older, I think it'll sink in, because right now, I barely even get to speak. I barely even get to speak to Dana and people at the UFC. I don't even get to talk to anybody. I don't understand, and deservedly so, I guess. I mean, it's all, I guess, passed me by. So maybe later on I can appreciate fully, what I've done. But right now I guess I'd say scrambling, but not scrambling, but I'm just too busy trying to figure out, okay, life after fight. You knew the day was going to come, and the day is coming for me. So that I've been too busy. It's never really dawned on me like, oh, look at. But when people ask, I definitely, you're the first step. Yeah, man, I started this. When people looked at me, they said, oh, you're going to have to go up a weight, and they said, oh, we're going to have to fight all these heavy guys. And I said, no, absolutely not. I go, I'm going to create this. I go, I remember, there's interviews. You can go back and get them. That's the beautiful thing about interviews is, they're written down or kept somewhere. And people, my exact words were, one day, I want to see it when nobody will say they're too small to fight in the UFC. That's been my goal from day one, is to be the pioneer for the little guy. Always has been.
You were definitely that.
Yeah, absolutely. that by a mile for sure. And like I said, it wasn't. Yeah, this is pioneer for really 4 weight classes, and there's no one else that can even come close to making that sort of claim. Now We've been interviewing you for years, and you always kind of make that comment of, oh, I should have been retired, oh, this, that, and the other. But as a fighter, what keeps you going? Like, what makes you want to get up? Having, you have nothing left to prove, Jens. Your legacy is cemented, man. What makes you? What gives you that drive to continue to go to different promotions, to travel all over the world, and keep fighting? Because
I've been doing it with one foot in the door and one foot out the door. I've been having 1 foot exit. That's the one thing that's been hitting home, especially in the last month and a half. My wife, talking to me a lot. Jeff Parrish, a friend of mine, talking to me. The word is committed. I either should have been committed to a hospital and have my brain fixed, or I should have been committed to fighting like I was when I wanted to be a world champ. Like I wasn't. I stopped being committed a while back because I had 1 foot always looking for something else to do, and that's the thing. God, I love Brian Butler, Sucker Punch Entertainment. He's done phenomenal things for me. Of course, Monty Cox, I've always stayed with Monty. But me and Brian, there's 2 or 3 things I've always, I was always torn, and I never really stuck with any one thing because I'm chasing the shiny bauble. And I'm like, okay, well, let's try this, or let's do this. I never stuck with things, My hat's off to people like Tap Out. They've been doing that from day one, out of the back of their car and seeing it explode. Tito Ortiz in Punishment. I remember that man sticking stickers in Lake Charles, Louisiana. You could go down the hotel hallway and there'd be those stickers. You stuck with it. I jumped around from this, jumped around from that. So my advice to young fighters and people that are starting out is commitment. You got to stay committed to what you do. And that's the one thing with Butler. I had 1 or 2 things, and I never, after 6 months, 8 months or something, I'm always trying to find, what's gonna put a smile on my face. What's gonna do this, and that's the one thing about the last 5 years of my career. As I'm walking into the gym, I'm telling myself I'm too old. I'm too, I probably shouldn't be here. What kind of commitment is that? It's half-assed, and that's the reality of it. Is I was never fully committed. So the reason people ask me now why I still fight, because I do everything based on emotion, and fighting is what saved my life. Wrestling, athletics, one-on-one competition saved my life from a kid. If you don't know my story, Driven, the documentary, we'll tell you all about it. My book, Little Evil, One Champion's Rise to the Top, we'll tell you all about it. I grew up with a shotgun in my mouth, you know what I mean? And my brother, he's doing his time. He had his way. My little brother graduated from college because of wrestling, and he has a master's in literature and owns a coffee shop, go figure, in Seattle. And he's my best friend on the planet. You know, it's things like that I am fighting because I used athletics to help me. It kept my sanity. It kept me going. And the reason why I'm fighting now is because I know I'm not the old man trying to hang on. Yes, I'm not as fast. No, I'm not going to be as quick as these guys. Nothing like that. But the reason why I do it now is because I'm trying to beat the mental demons and the ghosts and the shackles that have been crippling me for a while. You ever see, I started that Never Fly Solo. I've been kind of just holding on to it, kind of just plugging away at it a little bit. But Never Fly Solo, which is, it's the NVRFLYSOLO. Right on the shirt it says anxiety and depression. That's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to battle that. So when I do walk away from the sport, kind of like what you asked earlier about, are you proud of what you've done and accomplished? That's exactly it. I want to be able to have a smile on my face and say, yeah, man, I'm proud of MMA. I'm proud of what I built. I'm proud of this. And right now I'm just covered with going, dude, I allowed myself to be, I didn't commit. I never really committed. When I was at Kearns, I committed a little bit. But right now I'm not committing. I'm chasing little shiny baubles all over the place, and it's driving me insane. So I'm at that point right now, and it's ironic you ask, because the reality is, right now, I need to make a choice. Do I whine and tell myself, I'm old, I shouldn't be fighting, but yet train every day and just go through the emotions? Or, like the last fight I had, I didn't even train 3 weeks, and that disgusts me to say it, but I didn't even train 3 weeks before the fight because I had to go, I was off doing other things, and there was a promotional error that happened which ended up pushing the fight back, and I already had these commitments, so I wasn't being lazy. But the point is, I need to commit. I mean, if I'm going to commit, then I need to. And if I'm going to be done, then I need to commit to that. So right now, the word of the day, people, commitment. Sorry, long answer.
No, that's give the long answer you want, man. You've earned your time, believe me.
Guys are the first ones actually to talk to you. You're the first ones to get me to talk in a while, so that's
kind of what we do.
Yeah, we love talking to you, Jens, for sure.
So 2015. I mean, what do you see? What are you looking forward to next year?
That's 2014, by the way, Shooter.
Whatever.
I can't. I was say 15.
Dates are no good, man. I don't have time to look at calendars.
2014.
Okay.
I think right now what I'm really focusing on is, I had some real good people. They built a gym out in Kearney, Nebraska. I said it, Kearney, Nebraska. Look it up. It's out there, and it's. I think the Buckle, they're out there. Cabellos, the founders, they have their home offices are out there, and started working on a gym. The difference was, in my opinion, I'm going through the lessons. What I need right now, I think, as we're sitting here going through, I'm like, I need somebody that's really good at gym operations and can coach me, allow me to be the face, because that's all I am, is the face for this one. That was my part of the deal was I would, you know what I mean? I would train there, I would work there. We got a lot of great wrestlers. I've got a 125-pounder that, wait till y'all see him. And I got a 45-pounder. Oh, God, TJ. So, and then there's a bunch of guys, but I didn't really want an MMA gym, but I'm trying to learn how to cross over to, MMA fitness, because there's a lot of great things that we do in practice that everyday people could have a lot of fun doing. Like the cage fitness, that's fun. Punching on a bag and, little things besides just lifting weights and trying to figure it out. So I'm working on, I'll be working on a gym. Outside of that, the Red Harbinger Cross Desk, it's like you can build computers inside the desk, so your desk is the PC. I'm so into computers and computer games and technology and graphics and all of that. To be around those guys, I'm just like, oof. I had a lot of fun with Alienware. Things fell through. Hey, I take my part. I was a butthead, such is life. But so was they. No, I'm just kidding. And so Red Harbinger, working on that. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how. I'm just with them as they launch, and Thomas Nunn brings me on board, I'm extremely happy for it. But right now I'm trying to find anything, things outside of fighting that will put that will put a smile on my face. And I think, like I said, the biggest one for me, I'm learning everything, is the Never Fly Solo. That's the project that I want to do. Anxiety, depression, helping kids, especially at that college level and things of that nature. You read about kids being picked on, and I spoke at the College of New Jersey. I speak at different places, and that Never Fly Solo is a big one. To have somebody like me talk about anxiety and depression and say, you're not wrong. I mean, it's okay. I mean, we have this, but the idea of Never Fly Solo is you bring yourself a support group around you. And we use a lot of writing instead of fighting. You know what I mean? That's kind of the philosophy behind, with kids especially, is use writing instead of fighting. Put yourself around a support group, give yourself positive. One day you'll have to hear me go into the whole spiel, but I love talking about that, and I love going around and helping people. But again, I get turned so many times in one day. It's hard to find. I need one or two people that understand it and can help me, because I'm constantly flying off in all kinds of directions. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if you want me to say it, will I fight in 2014?
Well, that's a good question too.
I have no idea.
I mean, I just wondered in general what you were going to be up to. But yeah, are you going to fight?
Yeah, I gave you a big one, right? And then I figured, well, I better throw that out there. Will I fight? Possibly. I mean, we'll see what happens. But I think when the smiles on my I would like to. I mean, that's the one thing. People tell you, they say, oh, you're too old to fight and things like that. Seriously, come stand next to me. Physically, take a gander. I got about 6 gray hairs in my head, and I got no baggage, and you know what I mean? And I've never, besides the knee injury with Cub Swanson, I've never been hurt. But I'm want to be living proof that there's a gigantic mental gap. Older fighters, it's bottom line fact, for the most part, they forget to pull the trigger. They can't pull the trigger anymore because they get older and they think. They've seen too many punches. They understand what the perfect punch looks like, and they watch it happen. They're not that little spider monkey bouncing around, jumping all over the place and just making it happen. So I knew I was going to get old, but no one ever told me how it works. So I'm learning and having fun, or trying to have fun doing it. So when I'm not going through the motions of training, then I absolutely would like to fight one more time, because, I think after the things I've gone through, especially in this month has been on the so I'm not even going to open that floodgate. So it's been a wide opening, eye opener on, I've never been ready to hit somebody. It's about right now. I'm probably, I feel like
oh, come on, man. I just saw a picture of you reading to your son's class.
I know, that part was awesome. Now, see, now I can separate the two, because that, my friend, was the funnest thing. First, we got to go watch him. They did the pre-K. He was singing Jingle Bells, and I don't even remember the name of the other song, but he was up there singing, and then we had that scheduled, so it was my turn to read to the class, and Carson has this garbage truck. Don't eat the gingerbread house, buddy. Whoa, that's for looks, partner. Come here. And so he had his garbage truck book, and I have all these noises and everything. I mean, I really acted out. So to sit up in that class, and I don't even know where the LSAT came, but I mean, it was a blast. I had a great time reading to them, and my wife's holding tightly to there's a video. She has a small video of it. So it was pretty good. If anybody thinks I'm punchy and can't speak, they need to hear this reading, because,
they need to hear this interview, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so, God, I swear we could talk to you forever, but we're gonna have.
I know, right?
We're gonna have to wrap it up. Final question.
Okay.
Based on the conversation we've had, and I'm completely off the script that I originally wrote for this interview, and I don't really care.
Right? I smashed it.
That's no surprise. Yeah, I shouldn't have even bothered. All right, so last question, based on the way you talk about mixed martial arts, if we could boil it down to one option or the other, is mixed martial arts something you love, or is it something that you're trying to love? Are you doing it out of love for the sport, or are you doing it because it's something that you need to satisfy within yourself to get to the point where you're finally happy enough to walk away?
Oof, you know what? That's it. I can't say that it's because I love the sport. I don't eat, sleep, dream, breathe it every day. I don't, and I used to, and I wished I did. But as I'm sitting here coaching and learning how to become a coach and spending times, like I said, little Josh Smith, the 25-pounder TJ Hepburn, and the guys out there, I'm starting to realize, there are things that I can offer in the coaching world that I have tucked so far deep into my brain that I'm remembering. That whole thing about I have forgotten more than most people will know about fighting is fact, because I spend more time going, oh my God, I remember this, hold on. So I think the reality is now is I'm learning every day. And again, through Kanika and through like Jeff Parrish and of course Lance Stephan and my friends, Monty, I've learned that there's a little thing called commitment and 100% commitment. I had an idea what it was, but it was still a broad spectrum, not that laser tight rope, boom, committed to just this. And the reality is that's what I want to be able to do for myself, because when I do walk away from the sport, I want to be able to walk away with a smile. I want to be able to walk away with the fact that, yes, I was able to commit to it one more time and give it 100%. I didn't keep one door dangling out the car so I could bail out at any moment and have an excuse and have something ready for when I got beat and when I did this. So I was already preparing myself to lose. A lot of people may not grasp that. They may not understand it, or they may just call me crazy. Hey, man, get in line, because a lot of people do. But the reality is my world, my fighting. But when people say that, oh, you're getting beat doing this, number one, I'm not getting knocked out by anybody. So when they say Punchy, take that, like you said, listen to this interview and understand how many brains I actually have still functioning up in this dome. Two, in a life where right now, and I don't even want to jinx it, but where people can, they plan, they have all these things they want to do, and in the blink of an eye, they're gone. They're not even here. You know what I mean? So I look at that, and I've been lucky and fortunate to be given a gift to be able to continue to fight and train and be around my family. And I want to be able to, I want to plan for the next half of my life. And I want to be able to look my son in his face when he looks at me one day and he is seeing my career and he sees the struggles I walked through at the end. I want to be able to tell him as he's going through those issues. Damn, I made him get misty. As
you and me both, man.
As he's getting ready to go through these issues in his high school career and his college career, he doesn't try to match himself to me, who mentally just crapped the bed at the end. He can look and say, my daddy rose through it. The kid went from being a champ to almost being a joke in some people's eyes, because, especially in his own, because he was too busy and too mentally effed up to even do anything, to fixing that, straightening it out, and he did it because of his family, he did it because of his wife, he did it because of the fans and the people that believed in him, and he was able to come back. The ironic thing is, and I'll leave it with this and I'll shut up, is nobody knows this but Kanika. I told her we're laughing about it 5 years ago. I said, when I turned 39, we were watching James J. Braddock, the Cinderella story. When I turned 39, I go, watch. I will absolutely create this Cinderella story. No ifs, ands, or buts. And now we've been saying, that was 5 years ago. I was saying it to her. And I'm not making it up, not laughing. That's not meaning I'm going to go running back into the cage or anything like that. But what that means is I knew that for some reason I got foreseen my emotional splatter on the wall, you know what I mean? So, and then how I fix that, it may be, again, finding that smile. That's where I'm at. That's what I'm after. Finding that smile.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jens. It's always a pleasure.
Ready for that one, were you? Almost got me to cry, because I'm looking at my son, and he's sitting here picking on the gingerbread house, and I'm thinking, that's what people need to look at when it comes to being a father to their kids, or, their sons and daughters. They're going to look at you one day, and they're going to look at the things you did, and as they get older, they're going to, because I look at my dad when he was 30, and I look at the abuse he created to his kids, and how I measure myself to that. And that's what my son's going to do to me. He's going to measure himself to what I did. And I can't crap because of that. I got to muscle through this mental crap. Anxiety and depression, that's the thing. Never fly solo.
And
remember, you're not solo.
Yeah, thank you so much. And you're involved in so many things.
Hi, guys.
If people listening at home want to look up some of the projects you're working on, where can they go?
They can go to @Jens_Pulver. I answer everybody. I talk all the time. And then, of course, on the Facebook, they got, the Jens Pulver. And after that, and then we have the Facebook page we're building. Again, the Never Fly Solo, if you really look into that, Jason Richard is an incredible writer. Todd Smith was writing. And, you know, I've talked to Tyson Gribben a little bit, and I would like to figure out something with him, but I'm afraid to really step into committing to Never Fly Solo just yet because there's so many answers that I still need. Like, who can book me speaking gigs? I don't know how. I've always had an agent find me fights. So who can help me speak at the college level to colleges and things like that? So if anybody out there listening, an agent, I need a speaking agent, and I will show you the craziest story on the planet to share. So the Never Fly Solo, but it's NVRFLYSOLO. And then when you'll see it, there's a shirt on there. It's called Co-Pilots. It's a dad and his son, a mom and a daughter. And it's all about those are your co-pilots, man. They're the ones that are flying through this with you.
Jens, thank you so much for joining us.
Never an easy answer. I'm just...
Thank you so much, Jens. We'll definitely have you back on soon. This is incredible as always. We're honored to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. You just say the word, you know that, anytime. I really appreciate you guys taking the time.
Thank you so much, Jen. Take care.
Thanks, Jens.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, guys. Bye.